What's up guys, it's your boy John, back again with another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at something really special. This is the Pioneer Next 6600 and I'm going to give it a good fire up. So every time you start this unit, it's going to have this boot screen. There's no fast boot, and this is how fast it takes to boot. And every time you boot it, you're going to have this warning, which is unfortunate, and you can hit OK or eventually times out. Now let's go to the main menu. Alright. So you can see it's starting to connect to my Bluetooth phone. It's doing all the handshakes and all that. But let's first start with the design. Now, what I think is this design is pretty beautiful. Oop, look at that. Automatically goes to Android Auto wirelessly. That is super cool and a great feature. Now, back to the design. You can see it's that floating style tablet. And I just think it looks way better than those two DINs. You know, I'm talking about where it's kind of flush inside. I think it looks a lot cleaner, a lot more modern, more glass. These buttons look more elegant. Yeah, just the overall style, it just screams. If you ever seen an Android head unit, like a full-blown Android head unit, it very reminds me of that. Now, when it comes to design, I think this face looks great, but I think something to be had is these thick, about 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches, it feels like, bezels up top, and it's gray. I don't know why they made this portion gray, but it sticks out like a sore thumb. Another thing about the design that I don't like is the mounting isn't very intuitive. It's held everything by screws. Now this comes with a lot of issues because with other head units like the Android head units, you have like ball joints, you have sliders, you have clips. This one, everything is hard mounted, which is super sturdy, but at the same time lacks flexibility. So the design when it comes to the outer shell, you can't really adjust anything. Everything's already there, and it's a pain to get it to this kind of nice fitment that I have right here. But once it's in, it feels very solid. So yes. Also, let's talk about the display. Now the display is it's a 720p display. Can I see the resolution difference between like an Android head unit that's using 720? Actually, the Android head units are actually brighter, and I feel like the colors are punchier. Now the viewing angles on this unit is actually pretty good, but like I said in my unboxing, this head unit unfortunately suffers from what I say, like the screen isn't mounted close enough. What does that mean? The screen isn't mounted close enough. Now I'll show you. Alright, so you can see the screen has these bezels that are black. Now if you look closely, right there, let me see if I can show you to you. You can actually see that there's a gap within the screen. About almost, it feels like a 0.5 centimeter. And so see this phone right here? This is a OnePlus 7. The glass is actually glued onto the display. What that gives you is there's no bezels up here. It's just like the display is literally, when you're touching it, it feels like you're touching the display. Now when you're touching this display, it feels like you have a gap. Now a lot of negatives comes with that. First, the viewing angles, even though the display is looking good, you'll start to see some ghosting. So you see that white button right here? So the white will hit the glass, and then the glass will display double images. So that's on extreme angles, and it also just doesn't look as good because of that ghosting image on like a high contrast, these dashes. Now it's more apparent in person. Now if you're looking at it straight like this, you're not going to run into that issue. It's just a weird thing. Again, also when you're using it, it feels like you're touching right here, even though you're trying to touch a little bit deeper. So the display, although an improvement over last generations, the Pioneer displays that were like like straight out of Nintendo DS, this display is better, but it's not the best I've seen in the market. Especially for the price. Remember, this head unit costs about $900 if you buy parts and stuff, and just tax alone would be about $980, so a $1,000 head unit. I'm just not really blown away with the display right now. Performance wise, when it comes to you know, the refresh rate and input lag, now that's, I don't know if it's the screen's fault, but let's talk about performance of the head unit. When I talk about performance, it's like computers, right? It's about the CPU processing, the GPU, and all of that. Now the CPU on this, it's proprietary, or I don't know what it is, the exact specs, if it's a dual core, quad core, octa core. But man, this thing, let me just show you. Now I'm shooting the camera at 24 frames per second, so I don't know if you can see this, but you can just see the lag. Things aren't very smooth. They're not. The frame rate, it looks like 10 to 15 frames per second. Now coming from like an Android head unit that's 30 or 60, I mean, this phone is like 90 hertz. I mean, this is like buttery smooth. But when you look at this, I don't know, it just doesn't feel, premium. It doesn't feel luxurious. And yeah, just the frame rate's just bad. Now let's talk about input lag and just pressing things and how I feel about that. So when I press settings, it hesitates, you know. It's not that snappiness that I want to see. If I want to hit Bluetooth audio, and just a Bluetooth audio, it's just a menu, right? You see that lag? That's just the overall experience. Everything feels very laggy. Android Auto. Now, this Android Auto is doable. So I think what's happening with when it comes to Android Auto, it uses your phone processing, but this is way better than the actual interface. It is chugging a little bit here and there, but this is like acceptable. Like, it's way better than the actual interface within the Pioneer head unit, which is kind of sad. So I press that. It looks like the frame rate's just not good. So let's get out of the Android Auto. So performance-wise, when it comes to just processing power, it's pretty bad. And it is playing a video, and that goes back to the design, but you can change that. You can go to backgrounds. You have a video playing. And it looks, I love the animation of this like PS4, PS3 look. It looks nice. I mean, it's not a high resolution video, but it looks nice. And you have the static ones too. Now, I change it to a static image or a video image. Honestly, the lag, it's the same. So it's pretty just terrible in general. And then you have these other themes that you can do. You got red, orange, but let's just, ooh, that looks pretty good. So it's cool that they have these built-in themes. Now, it's not as extensive as like what you get with the Android head units, where you can choose your launchers, your CarPlay. You can choose so much. It's the possibility of an Android head unit versus this, and it doesn't even come close. This thing's very proprietary, very locked down, and you know, there's a lot of limiters, which is unfortunate. Here are some lights for the dimmer over here. Whee! So let's just take a look at that. So again, the white over here, let me see if I can get it white. It's still bluish, so it's not like that nice white. So this is their white color preset. It still looks kind of cool blue to me. You know, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. It's just not that good. So going back to performance, I mean, you can see it doesn't compete with Android at all. It's this thing feels like a dual core cheap $200 unit. I'm being honest, it's not that. It's the performance is lacking, man. It's terrible. But let's move on to something else, like functionality and overall use. Now, the Android head units, it's not perfect. We know that. It's also $300, $400, $200 in some cases. The really good ones being like $500. This one's, again, $1,000. So I'm judging this very, like, I'm scrutinizing it a lot. And it needs to be, because it's $1,000. But let's talk about the features. Android Auto plug and play. Nice. Android Auto wireless requires a few settings, but you can get Android Auto wireless working great. That's one thing that I have not got on the Android head unit side. So I'm really happy with that wireless Android Auto. That thing is just it's a game changer. And it almost makes it worth it, right? Having Android Auto wireless, it almost makes it worth it. But now, if you have an Apple, it does have Apple CarPlay wireless. Android head units have that Apple CarPlay and Apple CarPlay wireless too, which I really like. Now, again, the performance on the CarPlays and Android Autos is not as good as in the Android head units. Now, let's go back to another feature. It has Alexa, which I honestly, because of the Wi-Fi limitations of this, like when you connect a Wi-Fi through an Android head unit, it's like a tablet. It's super user intuitive. It's nice. I mean, okay, network error. We want to connect to Wi-Fi settings, right? Okay, how do you, where's my networks? Where's my SSIDs, right? You can't see that. Easy setup. You have to do WPS buttons. You have to touch this and then touch a button on your router. Why can't it just be simple and intuitive, right? So it's just a limiting factor. I don't know why they made it that way. It's a complete miss. The next thing that I absolutely like about this head unit is the radio. So if you listen to a lot of FM radio, having HD radio, it makes you want to, if you don't use like Android Auto, Apple CarPlay or whatever, and you use both, you use FM and AM radios, having HD radio it makes the quality of the music so much better, and the talk shows and people just making the podcasts, it sounds really nice. So Android head units can't compete when it comes to, I don't know why they don't have HD radio for here in the United States. I know they have it for Europe, and you need to buy this extra adapter, but HD radio, oh, it sounds good. It sounds close to like CD quality, where you're happy with it. It's good enough. It doesn't sound good as like Android Auto and all that stuff, but it's amazing compared to just regular FM AM radio. So big thumbs to Pioneer having HD radio. I don't use the HD radio myself but I know a lot of people out there do. Now, when we go to the Bluetooth audio settings, it connects, it works. It's not as intuitive as the Android head units, but it's there and it works. You can also have USB audios and stuff like that. Put some songs on a USB. Now, a limitation though is you can't. Okay, a lot of my friends and subscribers and viewers, they love putting videos on their cars. So they like to put Disney movies, Studio Ghibli movies, Pokemon, anime, One Punch Man, all that stuff. They put that on a USB, and on road trips, there's people in their car, they're watching Fast and the Furious while they're driving like a 6-hour road trip. Now, how safe is that? That's not very safe. But the driver's focusing and everyone's having a good time. It's a good media, keeps the kids busy. Since this is a Pioneer head unit, there's a lot of legal things, so they don't have that at all. They don't have it. It's not working, and it just doesn't work well. It doesn't work. So if it does work, or you guys found like a hack or something to figure out how to work, you can leave a comment below, and then I can put that in the description. But obviously, it's not very legal. So, but Android Auto, you need to watch any videos anyways. Same with CarPlay, you can't. But there are always workarounds. But let me just say, out of the box, you can't do that. Another thing is, that's just another thing that the Android head units, there's no restrictions. I feel like I'm in America. I'm free to do whatever I want. It might be a little bit reckless, but man, having that freedom, it's just so good. And it's up to the consumer to, enforce that. Of course, you have your iPod button, which is strange because who really uses iPods anymore? Then we have settings of phone. Now, the phone quality, it did come with its own mic, which was cool. But yeah, that's it. So let me get into the audio, and let me just tell you how I explain it. If you're just using regular speakers that come with your car, right? Regular speakers come with your car, it does sound better than stock. Now, when I'm playing music and I'm listening it, comparing to it to, let's say, like a nice like a nice DSP unit from Decida, or you know, the nice DSP one from Nguyen, honestly, they're very comparable. And for $700 less, $400, like, unless you're going all out on your audio and you need those, you know, 2 subwoofer outs, you know, what's your RCAs and your amp outs, your pre-outs. If you're just looking like, if you're just a person who just wants better audio, this will do it, but I don't recommend it. I would definitely look for a cheaper model. Now there is a cheaper model when it comes to this. If you want to go for that Pioneer head unit brand, there is a cheaper version. This is like the mid-tier, and then there's one above it, which is like $1,300, which is insane. But if you're not chasing for the best audio quality, I think you'll be happy with other options, not just Pioneer. So where am I getting at this with this review? If the audio quality is the same, but everything else is limiting, where should you go with this, right? If I were you, I'm going to ask you a few questions right now. Is HD radio important to you? All right. If it is, then go with the Pioneer head unit. Let me just show you all the apps. Is having that nice Pioneer or Alpine brand important, like branding, important to you? If it is, go with Pioneer or, you know, Alpine, Sony, Kenwood. Sirius XM, if that's important to you, you're gonna have to go with these options. All right, you have to go with the Pioneer, stuff like that. At the moment, and I know they're working on it, if you want Android Auto wireless, this is your only option. If you're okay with just plugging it through USB, which most people like charging their phone and while they're driving, then you can just go for the USB route and suck it up until they have some kind of update. But right now, there is no wireless Android, and it's awesome. But so that's the advantage of this. Now the display is not good. This the design of the head unit, I feel, is adequate but not good. Setting up things like the camera, like the backup camera, it was a pain. Like it's very finicky compared to other options. You know, I just think there's just too much security involved when it comes to like handshaking and like when it boots up, if it detects a camera, and it's just a lot of things that I don't like. That security little thing popping up as soon as you boot the head unit, man, I don't want to see that. It just loses, you know, I don't know, just I feel like I'm being babysit, and that's just, I'm a grown man. And if you're a grown woman or man, or just, you know, you don't want all these darn security things to limit your capability. Okay, so overall, I think this is a great head unit, right? Not great. I would say this is a good head unit. It looks good. It performs well. It sounds well. When I say performance, it's good enough. It's not the best. But if you're looking for the cutting edge, and you don't mind like going with Nguyen, Decida, and Headunits, and these Chinese companies that are really pushing the envelope, and every year they're just updating and they're just pushing it. They kind of remind me of Tesla, where they're just always trying to make it better. And maybe the last year model wasn't as good, but this year model is just insane. It's a lot better. Now, I've been doing Android head unit videos for a long time now, and I'm saying that these Android head units, they're hitting a plateau where they're getting better, and then they're kind of slowing down. And that's fine, because now they're just kind of refining things, right? Where Pioneer, they've been in the game for so long, but they plateau too early, I feel like. It's just like now these minor improvements, like having this tablet style. I mean, I just feel like they could have done so much better for the price. And that could be because they have to pay for so much certifications. Like, for them to have HDMI, they need to have the HDMI certification, Apple CarPlay, Apple certification, Android Auto, all these certifications, they add up, but they can label it. And I know some Android head units, they kind of just throw that under the rug, but they pass that savings to you. So they're like, it does have HDMI, but we can't say it has HDMI, or you're not supposed to watch videos where you're driving, but you can watch videos where you're driving. It's defaulted. It's just a check mark where you can uncheck it. And I just like that kind of freedom. Again, so you guys, I mean, if you get the vibe of this video right now, I'm quite disappointed in this head unit. I thought this would be like going from a Honda Civic to like a Bentley or Lamborghini, but I'm in my Civic Type R, and I feel like this is an old Audi. It's better, but there's a lot of things where it's feeling like outdated. Like it's an older Audi, so it's just like, what I'm saying? It's just, this should be better. This should be the cream of the crop, but it's not. If you guys were looking for nice head units, check out the links down below. I'm gonna list some of my favorite head units and what I like that are way cheaper and better. But if you need the features that I mentioned, go pick up this unit. I actually think it's pretty good. It's a good unit, just not the best. Thank you guys for watching. I know this was a little bit long one, but this is important when it comes to a traditional head unit versus an Android head unit, which I do a lot in this channel. So I have a pretty good experience with them. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. And don't forget to smash that like button, because this head unit was extremely expensive. And I'm not sponsored or anything, so this was getting paid out of my pocket. Peace out.